With all GPs now holding daily Pauper side events, Star City Games open weekends offering 5 Pauper challenges, and local game stores across this world holding their own Pauper tournaments near you. Don't worry, I'm not going to list any off. You're not going to hear any list of Pauper tournaments. I was just doing that one time. I won't do it again. All right, just relax. Just relax. You might say that Pauper has done a lot more than popped off, but rather it's exploded. Presented here are the top 5 cards from Dominaria most likely to see Pauper play, be it in sideboards, mainboards, or possibly spawning brand new decks for the format. But before we begin, an honorable mention. Masters 25 downshifted Relentless Rats to common, spawning the Rats deck in Pauper, which, if not powerful, was at least a lot of fun, but not to be outdone, Dominaria has given us a colony of rats from which to brew with, by which I mean colony of rats. Rat Colony is a colony of rats for 1 mana of any color and a black, a 2/1 rat. Rat Colony gets +1/+0 for each other rat you control. A deck may have any number of cards named Rat Colony. So obviously we are comparing this to Relentless Rats, a similar card for 1 of any color and 2 black. Relentless Rats gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield named Relentless Rats, and a deck can have any number of cards named Relentless Rats. See the difference between the two? Relentless Rats is a 2/2, but 1 more mana. Rat Colony can come out sooner, but since it's only a 2/1, and since it only gets +1/+0, that 1 toughness makes it a sweet target for Electrickery. But again, a Rats deck isn't necessarily an attempt at Tier 1, just a fun deck that can win when the cards play right. In a way, I think going all in on Relentless Rats or all in on Rat Colony is not really what you want to do so much as go in on both. Why not both? That way, your proper Pauper Rat deck will make use of both, along with classics like Dark Ritual and Gary, for a squeaky clean mana curve that'll help you scurry away with the cheese. But of course, that's an honorable mention of a fun new card in Pauper that I'm sure people will brew with, even if it isn't going to 5-0 a lot of tournaments. Coming in at number 5 is where the real power begins. It's a subtle card, not so much as an overwhelming board presence, but a tool that we are going to want to have in our belts. And that card, of course, is Broken Bond. Broken Bond is 1 mana of any color and green for a sorcery that reads, destroy target artifact or enchantment. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. The first card we wish to compare this to is Explore. Also a common, Explore is also 1 mana of any color, and a green for a sorcery that reads, you may play an additional land this turn. Draw a card. So what Broken Bond is offering us is ramp and artifact or enchantment removal versus ramp from Explore and the ability to replace itself by drawing a card. I think this has a very real place in sideboards, possibly even replacing cards like Ancient Grudge in decks with access to green. In many ways, this is Ancient Grudge losing Flashback, but gaining the ramp of Explore. Another card to compare this to is the sideboard staple of Gleeful Sabotage. Another card to compare this to is the sideboard staple of Gleeful Sabotage, a sorcery for green and 1 of any color that lets you destroy target artifact or enchantment, but then if you wish to conspire, you can tap a green creature to copy the spell and destroy a second target. Will decks that run Gleeful prefer Broken Bond? That remains to be seen, but the thing about Pauper and Pauper deck building is the endless options and versatility the format brings. No, this isn't going to outright replace any of these other cards, and it's unlikely to spawn a brand new deck archetype, but it is a fantastic new tool to have on the belt, letting brewers and fine-tuners perfect their lists, and giving us another common option to add to the fray. Magic players and deck builders are often said to have magpie minds, scouring through those binders, looking for just the right card to put into play. Well, coming up next is a card perfect for all of us magpies, and that is Artificers Assistant. Artificers Assistant costs 1 blue for a 1/1 flying bird. Whenever you cast a historic spell, spell, Scry 1. What a great one-drop for decks like Affinity. Sadly, it won't give you Scry for your artifact lands, as the card says cast and not play. But with this little birdie in play, just about every other spell in that deck will let you Scry 1. So that's fantastic advantage for decks like Affinity right off the bat. But I do not believe this is limited to Affinity. Looking beyond, Kuldotha builds from Jeskai to Boros Monarch have a plethora of historic spells. Not to mention artifacts that tend to bounce back and forth between the battlefield and your hand. This helpful Magpie can find a home there, or maybe even be worth splashing in white tokens builds, giving cards like Bone Splitter a virtual Scry 1. And though I hate to say it, this just helps make Pauper eggs all the more reliable. Ugh, Pauper eggs. Have you brewers no shame? Either way, this is a card that will see play, and probably not just in one deck, as I think it has a home in several. Let's make a bargain. Look into your future, see what possibilities lie ahead. Take the outcomes you desire and lay the unwanted ones to rest. All it will cost you is a few years off your life. It's a Dark Bargain, and our number 3 card. Dark Bargain costs 3 mana of any color and a black for an instant that reads, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 2 of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Dark Bargain deals 2 damage to you. I'm not sure R&D realized what they were doing to Pauper when they made this card. 2 into hand and 1 into the graveyard. Blue-black Alchemist / Teachings decks are going to love this. Those builds are powerful enough already, but this is going to make them even more so. Hey, who doesn't love losing to blue-black control? Ugh. Its biggest competition for becoming a thing in Pauper, I think, is Read the Bones. But that instant speed draw and dump is just too good to pass up. And I think this is a case where the bigger risk gets us so powerful a reward that it's worth it. Now, how this will likely shake out is that mono-black decks aren't going to want to run this. Doesn't fit right, they'll probably stick to Read the Bones. But all those dirty Dimir teachings and their variants will absolutely benefit so greatly from this, especially with that one card in the graveyard helping put out things like Angler, that it's a fantastic and powerful addition to their lists. Alright, the top 2 cards are where the real power lies, and for those of you with an adventurous impulse in mind, let's take this journey together with Adventurous Impulse at number 2. Adventurous Impulse costs 1 green for a sorcery that reads, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. There's 2 cards that come to mind when I see this fantastic new card, and they are both Ponder and Oath of Nissa. In fact, Oath of Nissa was a card many called a green Ponder, but it's a rare, and Adventurous Impulse is a common. Yet, for Pauper though, they kind of do the same thing. Oath grabs a creature or land, obviously there's no common planeswalkers, and puts the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. So that's what Adventurous Impulse is. Take away the planeswalker nonsense and make Oath a common. This may now be the most powerful green 1-drop in all of Pauper, and everything from Elves to Stompy to Selesnya Silvers just got more powerful. Reading the card explains the card, so notice the creature it grabs need not even be green. Zoo archetypes or new builds altogether may just spring up around this. The number 1 pick for Pauper has myself and many others both happy and a little scared. Will this be a card that R&D needs to Control Z and undo, or dare I say, unwind? Only time will tell. Unwind costs 2 mana of any color and a blue for an instant that reads, counter target non-creature spell, untap up to 3 lands? What? 3 lands, not basics or islands, but any 3 lands? Okay, Tron says please and thank you, as if it weren't powerful enough. But of course this is in blue, so mono blue lists, Delver, even the blue-black control variants I mentioned earlier, all stand to gain big time. Taking all bets, is this card ban-worthy? I actually don't think so, though I understand why many do. Despite its high power level, it doesn't enable combos the way cards like Cloud of Fairies did in the past. And as for what it replaces in most Tron builds, we're talking maybe 1 card main board or a couple in the side. So while this card is very, very good, don't get me wrong, that doesn't make it ban-worthy. It's a high power level for Pauper, and it's going to make strong decks all the stronger. But we are the Legacy Light format, and so we're always pushing for the top. And so no, I don't think this will be banned, but rather just another powerful piece of our Pauper libraries. But now I want to hear from you. What cards from Dominaria do you think are the most powerful, the most likely to see impact in Pauper, and why? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, whether you're buying Magic the Gathering accessories, sleeves, or booster packs, whenever possible, try and spend that money at your local game store. You're supporting your Magic community. And this video is brought to you by my and many other people's local game store, Card Kingdom, a brick-and-mortar pillar of this community, as well as the Patreon support of viewers such as you. These are the people that keep Tolarian Community College going and growing strong. So thank you.